will be at our Birchmount location.
Here?
Okay.
You do. Will you do for my son?
Where's Marcia?
All right, good.
Come on out. Where's Marcia?
Be good.
If I could have you, yeah, please. And then if I could have you just, we can kind of make, if you want to take a half step away from the wall here, just forward. Yeah, perfect.
Come in closer.
Yeah, exactly. It feels uncomfortable, but it looks, yeah.
Come on in.
Come on, Marcia. I get people do that to you all the time, right?
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, great. And then I think we're ready to go ahead when you're ready. Go ahead.
Is this okay? Do I have to?
Yeah, why don't you come to the middle?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't have to do that.
Hello, good morning. We are here today at thank you for joining us at CUPE 5852 office in Scarborough. My name is Fatima Shaban and I am the MPP candidate, Ontario NDP candidate for Scarborough Southwest in the upcoming provincial by-election. We met today with the members here and we wrapped up a very important discussion about what the needs are in Scarborough to make sure that everyone has access to healthcare when they need it. It is my pleasure to pass it over to someone who is a true champion for healthcare workers, and for Scarborough, leader of the official opposition and Ontario NDP, Marit Stiles.
Thank you, Fatima. Thank you so much. I'm going to step in here. And I want to start by saying I'm so glad to be here in Scarborough alongside our incredible candidate for Scarborough Southwest, Fatima Shaban. And of course, standing around me, I am very honored to be joined by frontline healthcare workers, CUPE members, folks who work on the front line in our hospitals, in long-term care, in public health, in community. We have just wrapped up a really important conversation about healthcare in Scarborough. And I want to say, we have knocked on thousands of doors already here in Scarborough lately. And the one thing that we are consistently hearing from people is that they are worried about what they're seeing in our healthcare system. Growing wait times, hallway healthcare, millions still waiting for primary care. For families in Scarborough, that means worrying about whether their loved ones are going to be able to get the care that they need when they need it. For healthcare workers, it is the moral injury of being stretched thin in a system that is constantly on the brink. The Scarborough Health Network is facing a deficit of $36 million. If that isn't addressed by Doug Ford and Health Minister Sylvia Jones, it means that the network will not be able to maintain safe service levels. In reality, people here are waiting an average of 17.5 hours to be admitted to the hospital from the emergency room. I heard healthcare workers here standing with us today say very clearly, nurses are being assigned, healthcare workers are being assigned to hallways every day. This is the norm. This is the norm in our hospitals. Hallway healthcare that Doug Ford said he was going to end back in 2018 when he took over from the Liberals has now become the norm. It is the status quo. And I heard that again here very strongly from the healthcare workers who are with me. That's more than, by the way, that's more than double Doug Ford's already too high standard of 8 hours. More importantly, hospital beds don't care for patients. Healthcare workers care for patients, right? Since the day he took office, Doug Ford has trampled on workers like the ones that you have here standing behind me, as he does everything in his power to choke our healthcare system to the point of privatization. He wants to bleed our public healthcare system dry so that private companies can swoop in and pick the bones. As New Democrats, our message to the Premier is very simple. We were the ones who created universal health care in the country, and we will never, never let you break it. So while the Premier and his Conservative government do everything they can to crush our healthcare system, we have a plan to fix it. And that's why we're calling on the government to invest in Scarborough's hospitals and Scarborough's healthcare system. bring in safe staffing ratios, and clear the pathway for internationally trained healthcare professionals. That's some important steps that could be taken. Also, can I just add, let's stop treating public healthcare like it needs to be the responsibility of municipalities. Healthcare is healthcare, whether it's provided in community or hospitals or long-term care or in your home. It is healthcare. Scarborough residents should not have to go downtown to get the care they need. It is time for Scarborough to get its fair share. Excuse me. I just want to finish up by adding a few final comments coming directly out of the conversation that we had today. A few things that I really noted from our conversation. People here feel like this government and hospitals are squeezing water out of a rock. There is nothing left. Healthcare workers are burned out. They are leaving the system. We talked a lot about the fact that healthcare workers are retiring. Many healthcare workers are aging out now. They're getting to that point where it is retirement age, and then people we know are taking retirement early sometimes because it is so difficult out there, and it is really hard to recruit people. Hospitals are decided to contract out people rather than actually pay people a decent wage and support them as full-time employees. I heard healthcare workers talk about being in the line of fire, racing around, being forced to do the work of others who no longer are there. Because, it's not as if the need is going down, the need is increasing. So when you lose a healthcare worker in our healthcare system, then that means that somebody else is picking up that work. And we heard that over and over and over again today. Somebody said to me, when did we go from heroes to zeros? COVID, everybody standing here with me, the government said, you are our frontline heroes. And then they flipped the page, and here we are again asking healthcare workers to pay an impossible price. They are not just facing moral injury, but they are facing actual violence in the workplace at a really alarming rate. And I also heard people say, sometimes you don't really understand what's happening out there until it happens to you. That's what I'm finding on the doorsteps here in Scarborough, and what Fatima is as well, is more and more people on the doorstep telling us stories firsthand about what is happening. I met a woman the other day. She herself is a PSW. Her mother has dementia. They were in the emergency room here in Scarborough for 33 hours until she could get a bed. So, this is the real life example. And I also just want to finish up by saying every single person here is not only a frontline healthcare worker. They are sons and daughters and grandchildren and grandparents and parents of people who also need care and rely on our healthcare system. Every single person here is also facing the same issues in their own families. And that really stuck out to me as well. Because, as our healthcare system, as people fall through the cracks, it is families that are left to pick up the pieces. And Fatima, one of the reasons Fatima ran is because of her own personal story in her family, of what that looks like, the toll that's taken. But that's certainly what we are experiencing all around the province, and particularly here in Scarborough. And with that, I'm very happy to take your questions.
So you sort of touched on it there. Is this a unique situation in Scarborough, or is this sort of a systemic problem around the province?
Well, certainly. As I travel around the province, the healthcare system is in crisis in every single corner of our province. But Scarborough has been historically underserved, without question. Scarborough is treated like an afterthought by the province of Ontario and here in the GTA. And it has been for a long time, and we see that in the stories and in the reality that we're facing here in Scarborough.
I have some unrelated questions.
That's okay.
On behalf of Colin Danello. It appears that in 2024, there was a civil servant in the Ministry of Housing that was taking notes on home construction, and they wrote 1.5 millionth home and was going to reach target. Does this indicate to you that the government has known all along that this wasn't achievable?
It's very clear from these notes that have come out that this government knew for many years that the target of 1.5 million homes, that they were not going to reach that target, and that they had no intention of doing so. This is a government that is not serious about building housing, and the results are here, right? We are dead last in housing starts in the country. Doug Ford and his government refuse to get into the business of building homes. They refuse to roll up their sleeves and actually do what every other province is doing and say, you know what, government has an active role to play here. They just give up. They throw their hands up in the air and they say, you know, the market can't do it right now, so that's it. It won't get done. Well, the people of Ontario cannot put up with that anymore, right? People need homes. They need affordable homes. That was a promise that this government made and that Doug Ford has made in 3 elections now, when he obviously knew that he was never going to reach it and never intended to. He always does this though, right? This is what we see again and again. False promises in front of the camera, but behind the scenes, they've got a very different line.
One more, on the use of artificial intelligence in the classroom. Should the Ford government be creating a strategy for teachers and students, and what would you suggest that would look like?
Well, certainly we need a strategy. We need strong guidelines around the use of AI in classrooms. The government would like to stick their heads in the sand and pretend this isn't an issue, but it is. Every frontline education worker knows this, every parent knows this, and the students know it too. So we absolutely need a strategy, and I think they need to listen to the education experts. You know, this is what the government refuses to do every single time. Listen to the frontline experts, listen to the people who know, and look at the experience in other jurisdictions. The government has no plan. Their plan seems to be only increasingly to rely on online education to underfund our classrooms. And let's be clear, the biggest challenge that we are facing right now for Ontario students is the sheer number of students in a classroom. Our education workers, like our frontline healthcare workers, are overwhelmed and burning out, and our children are not getting the support they need in our classrooms.
Got 2 questions. First off, I guess Ford is in Northern Ontario to meet about the Ring of Fire, but no media is allowed to attend. Why do you think that is?
Well, it seems to me like the Premier doesn't want to be asked any questions about anything these days. He's attacking the media for just raising the questions that the people of Ontario want answers to. And so it doesn't surprise me that he's running scared and preventing the media from having an opportunity to ask him questions, which is their job. I would say, in terms of the road to the Ring of Fire, it is encouraging to see the government working with First Nations and the local community to build what is clearly much needed infrastructure. But I would also add what we aren't seeing. It's one thing to build a road in the Ring of Fire, is another thing to get people to the road in the first place. And right now, highways 11, 17, and 69 are death traps. And the people of Northern Ontario have been calling on the government to invest like this is infrastructure that matters. Doug Ford is too focused on, building some fantasy tunnel under the 401, or, focused on a downtown island airport that nobody's asking for, so that him and his friends can land their luxury jets, instead of actually thinking about, the kind of infrastructure that we need to transport people in other regions and other parts of this province safely. So that would be my comment on that.
Okay, last question regarding education. I guess today is the last day of school.
Oh yeah.
Massive changes will be happening provincially. Should parents be concerned about what students will be coming back to in 2 months?
I mean, I think the main conversation that's happening in the playgrounds after school among parents right now and among education workers is fear about what it's going to be like when school comes back in September. Most of our classrooms are already beyond capacity. There are too many children crammed into our classrooms with not enough teachers and education workers. The kids who are struggling the most are not getting the support they need, and now every child is struggling because they don't have the support they need. So I think a lot of parents are very deeply concerned about what this means for September. And they also hear a government that is heading to the bargaining table, but is disrespecting the very education workers that we need so desperately to be supported in our classrooms. I think Ontario families are very concerned, and they are right to be concerned. This is a government that, just like with our healthcare system, they seem to be interested in creating chaos and confusion and blowing up our public education system so that they can privatize elements of it. That's not going to serve Ontario kids. Our kids deserve better. Parents should be able to rely on the fact that when their kids come back to school in September, they will have, a small class size with a teacher and educational assistants ready to support them and work with those children. Our children deserve the best that public education, not a government that wants to continually cut and undermine it. Apologies, my allergies are really bad today.
Anything else? All good?
All right, thank you very much. And again, I just want to say thank you so much to all of you for standing here with me today. It really means a lot. And we're going to keep fighting for you every single day, and this conversation will keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.